Very good evening to all of you. How are we doing tonight here in Banshell Park? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. My goodness gracious, every week this summer we have had a fantastic turnout. Third week in a row we have had a huge crowd here in Banshell Park. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a big round of applause. I know there's big crowds every week because I'm getting here as early as I ever have, but I'm having to go further and further away to park every week. I'm going to have to adjust my schedule. Well, we thank you so much for being here to continue celebrating the 100th anniversary season of the Ames Municipal Band. Very, very special times indeed. And speaking of special times, tonight we are helping to honor the anniversary of the band by bringing in, of course, one of the all-time favorite guest artists to ever take the stage here. Simon Estes will join us tonight in narration on a couple of different numbers. Yes. It's also Ames City Council night. Mayor John Hala and representatives of the Ames City Council are with us. They're going to be coming out on stage in just a few minutes. I'm John Burnett Larkins, and these fine folks right here on the stage are set to get the ball rolling once again on a Thursday night in Banshell Park. Great music in the offing, courtesy of these folks right here. Please welcome the members of your Ames Municipal Band. And let's hear it for the director of the Ames Municipal Band, person who is playing a key role in many special moments in this anniversary season, Dr. Michael Galimo. Hey, We ask you to please rise if you are able. Remove your hats. Veterans and service members, you may perform a service salute at your discretion. It's time to join the Ames Municipal Band as we salute our nation, our national anthem. You might have noticed we have some extra people, some extra hardware down here in front of the stage tonight. And Ames, City of Ames TV is here to making a video recording of this concert this evening. And it will be available on Ames Channel 12, the Facebook page, YouTube page, about the first week of July, I am told. So you can watch for that. As was mentioned a few minutes ago, it's Ames City Council night here in Banshell Park, and especially in this 100th anniversary year of the band, we want to extend our thanks to the City of Ames for its fantastic support over the years, and as we head into a second century. Right now, please join me in welcoming to the stage the Mayor of Ames, John Hala.
Well, good evening. It is a pleasure to be here and to be joined with 6 very good friends and peers. We introduce them. Bronwyn Beatty Hansen, We got Amber Corrieri, Gloria Betcher, Rachel Junk, Anita Rollins, and Tim Garton, and these 6 members are your city council. Every year we really enjoy coming out here and having the Ames Council night at the band shell. Gives us a chance to go ahead and meet people, to share ice cream and delicious, refreshing Ames water. We hope you enjoyed the treat, and I know some of them were melting pretty quickly, but I hope you got to eat them before they all melted. This is a special year, as John mentioned, for the Ames Municipal Band. It's 100th years since the Municipal Band was established in 1924. I don't think anyone playing in the band was here when it started, but yet you make your own call, so anyway. Anyway, 1 year later, in 1925, the band was incorporated as a separate entity with elected officers under city government. The band's purpose was to provide concerts for the people in the community, like tonight, be ready at all times to furnish music for civic and community activities, cooperate with the school and playground musical activities for training of Ames youth, and provide a place where instrumental musicians may continue their musical training. The Ames Parks and Recreation Department has created a sign honoring this impressive 100-year milestone. On the sign, you'll be able to read more about the Ames Municipal Band and its former directors and some photos. I want to thank the Ames History Museum for helping us assemble that. And our own band director, Michael Galimo, is included with his tenure beginning in 2003. So I'll call for the sign to be unveiled. Which it already was. I thought I'd pimp you. Go ahead. Thanks, Craig. And in closing, I just want to, I have to say this. Every year, it has been an incredible honor to introduce someone that you all know and love. And a couple of years ago, last year or so, he's not been able to be with us. But it's my honor to introduce Simon Estes. He's going to come out tonight. He's missed a few concerts, but we're delighted to have him come back tonight and be a part of the Ames City Council night at the bandstill. So. All right. Have a good rest of the evening, and hope you enjoy the concert. Thank you.
In the midst of life's most challenging events, it is important for us to look inward and outward to reconnect that universal voice, that voice that ties us together as humans, living and growing in a single world. That world is our gemstone of many facets, yet when we focus with greater vision, we see the larger entity, the priceless gem called life. Let's raise our voices to remember our past, honor our present, and express hope for our collective future with one world, many voices, and a symphony of song.
That was entitled One World, Many Voices by the composer Robert Sheldon. And very recently composed piece, and I think it's very significant to mention that that was played just a couple of weeks ago in Normandy, France, as part of the 80th anniversary of the D-Day commemorative festivities. Eric Osterling, a name well known in the world of band music. His works have been played for more than 50 years by countless ensembles worldwide, including this very proud one right here on our stage. We now bring you one of Osterling's standby numbers. This is called Bandology. You know, you've been doing this a long time when you can sing along note for note with some of these numbers backstage. I was doing that on that one. I surprised myself. Got it just about spot on all the way through. Well, it got off to a very slow start when it was first released in 1952, but today considered one of the greatest musical films ever made, the romantic comedy musical Singin' in the Rain, which starred Gene Kelly and who was also the producer of that, by the way. Also Donald O'Connor and Debbie Reynolds, of course. It's a story of three Hollywood performers caught up in the transition from silent films to talkies. The title song from the movie is an instantly recognizable piece of music written by Arthur Freed, who was the creator of many of the lavish musicals turned out by MGM Studios in that time. Umbrellas are optional, just in case you might have tucked one under your arm coming in tonight for some reason. But you are certainly invited to sing along with us, and we know a lot of you will. Now enjoy with us, Singin' in the Rain. Wonderful, wonderful, from Ames Municipal Band. I don't know if we're going to do the Lord's Walk later in the summer. We'll find out, but I'll save the rest for that. Last week, we brought you Serenata by Leroy Anderson, if you were here. How many of you were here last week? Be honest. Yeah, okay. Very good. Tonight, we bring you another famous Anderson selection called A Trumpeter's Lullaby. Boston Pop's trumpet soloist Roger Voisin asked Anderson if he could compose a softer trumpet piece for him to play, because he said, you know, all the trumpet solo pieces that are out there are loud and brash, imagine that, and triumphant sounding, and he wanted something softer. And so Anderson got to thinking, how about if I did a trumpet number as a lullaby? That would certainly be different, and so this song was born. Now, it's perfect time to tell you the precursor to the Ames Municipal Band was the Ames Cornet Band, which got started in 1870 with concerts held on the steps of the Methodist Episcopal Church, which was on the northeast corner of Main and Kellogg. That church was torn down in 1887, and the concerts then moved to this park where we are right now here tonight, and the land here had been sold to the city by the Iowa Railroad Land Company for $1 with the stipulation that it be used as a park. We'll feature the band's trumpet section on this one, and that includes Rick Kaufman, Jason Kirk, Arthur Luberstedt, Jim Beckwith, Derek Fredericks, Jonah Tibbetts, Lauren Schwab, and Nathan Miner. They are set to go. We hope you are too. This is Leroy Anderson's A Trumpeter's Lullaby. Well, a few minutes ago, we presented the One World, Many Voices selection. And we are now going to bring our featured narrator out one more time here this evening. Hold on, hold on. Slight adjustment to the agenda. Hold on. Keep you in suspense here a little bit longer for that. Rewind the tape. We will keep some of the focus on World War II years as we commemorated a little bit earlier when Simon Estes was out here. This will be a salute to one of the greatest musicians of those days, Glenn Miller. Now, Miller and his orchestra are synonymous with big band and swing music, and they were the best-selling recording band from 1939 to 1942. The touring version of the band played radio broadcasts nearly every day. And with the onset of World War II, of course, wasn't long before Miller volunteered for the military, and then the Glenn Miller Army Air Forces Orchestra was formed, toured extensively, entertaining the troops, and that ensemble is considered to be the father of today's American military bands. And of course, on his way to a show in France in 1944, the plane carrying Major Glenn Miller disappeared over the English Channel. He was declared killed in action a year and a day later. He left behind a musical legacy that lives on today, and we're very happy to keep that memory alive. This will be a medley including In the Mood, Serenade in Blue, Little Brown Jug, Moonlight Serenade, At Last, and I've Got a Gal in Kalamazoo. This is called In the Miller Mood. Well, we had the special number with Simon Estes doing the narration earlier in the concert, and we had the Glenn Miller salute just now. We're going to continue on in that World War II memory vein right now, and I'll bring you another very special number, a premiere number here on this stage here this evening, expanding on that and looking back on these days in honor and respect to all those who lived through it, and especially those who served in that time. Set to come back out on stage in just a moment here and guide us through this selection. Once again, we will turn to the legendary voice and presence of Simon Estes. Now, Simon has been joining us for these concerts for close to 20 years now. The Iowa native and internationally acclaimed baritone bass vocalist has performed on stages worldwide, including in many opera productions, first in Europe, later in the U.S., and a career that has spanned more than 60 years. In more recent years, his activities have included establishing the Simon Estes Foundation, bringing attention to the fight against HIV and AIDS, aiding in the fight against malaria in Africa, and establishing programs to help Iowa youth succeed, as in his Roots and Wings tour, which raised funds to help provide scholarships to Iowa high school seniors. He is an adjunct professor and the Wendell F. Miller Artist in Residence in the Department of Music and Theater at Iowa State University, where in 2020 the name of the building that houses that department was changed to Simon Estes Music Hall. And very recently, Simon performed with the New York Philharmonic as a narrator, and he also recently received an honorary doctorate from the Juilliard School, where he studied in his early days, and that is his 13th doctorate that he has received in his career. This next selection was written for the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attack and the gathering of heroes from around the world in 2016. Tonight we dedicate this to all who have served in the armed forces, past and present. This is called The Greatest Generation. Once again, set to go with narration for this, Simon Estes.
Born in a time of transition, promise, and prosperity, children of the early 20th century entered a world where anything seemed possible in America. In the aftermath of World War I, we saw America coming of age on all fronts, from the boom of the Wall Street to the rise of major industry. The United States of America was quickly taking the place as the most powerful nation on earth. The Roaring Twenties ushered in a new era of American dreams and indulgence. Popular culture was rich with entertainment and personalities such as Babe Ruth and S. Scott Fitzgerald. Radio was broadcasting to the heart of America, while the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame became household names for their college football victories. Only history could tell us these were temporary times, soon to be tested by the winds of change and of uncertainty. Shortly after the blacklist on Mondays in October of 1929, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was promising a new deal for America and declaring, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." While others in the world were plotting and sowing seeds of war, America spent most of the 1930s healing and growing. As the decade neared completion, we were once again entertained by major musical stars, including Glenn Miller and Benny Goodman, while Clark Gable and Betty Davis lit up the silver screens across America. In 1940, we entered a new world of promise and prosperity, but it was clear to many that war would define this generation coming of age. On December 7, 1941, a day that lives in infamy, Pearl Harbor was attacked. The news spread like wildfire across the radio waves, changing lives of all who heard it. America mobilized like no other society in history. In the weeks that followed, we sent out youth from all walks of life around the world in both directions, not to only conquer, but to liberate. Farmers, truck drivers, miners, lawyers, and teachers from every ethnic background and religion joined the effort. FDR reminded us that we are now and in this war. We are all in it all the way. Every single man, woman, and child is a partner in the most tremendous undertaking of our American history. Americans believed in this cause. The freedoms of speech, religion, and economic prosperity became our vision, not just for us, but the entire planet. After hard-fought battles such as Midway and Guadalcanal, America led the world on the June 6, 1944, in the largest amphibious invasion in history, with Pearl Harbor as the beginning and the beaches of Normandy as the beginning of the end. This mobile generation rose to the heights not seen here before. We invite the heroes that served in this armed forces to stand up united in purpose and passion for a greater world, a world in which you fought, dreamed, and shared with the generations to follow. Lift your hearts as we salute you, and remember those that gave selflessly and changed history. America's greatest generation.
Once again, Simon Estes. Let's have another big round of applause. Our hymn selection this evening comes to us from Scottish Anglican cleric Henry Light. He composed it in 1847 while he was dying from tuberculosis. This is Abide With Me. Next week's concert here in Bandshell Park will include the return of noted vocalist Dean Landheist. You might have seen him perform here last year, and we are very pleased to have him come back again this year. And we'll have the premiere of a number that will feature trumpet soloist Rick Kaufman and saxophone soloist Tammy Kaufman. That and more, all coming up next Thursday night right here in Bandshell Park with your Ames Municipal Band. We're going to break with tradition for a little bit here as we head down the home stretch in this concert here tonight, and have a Sousa March be our second to last number. Oh, yes, second to last number. Our finale is indeed something very special, but so is this Sousa March, the Black Horse Troop March. Sousa was fond of horses and founded troops, of which the Cleveland, Ohio National Guard unit was a very fine example. It was noted for its exclusive use of black horses. This march was composed by Sousa in 1924, but the Sousa Band had been involved with the Black Horse Troop on more than one occasion in the past, including marching in a parade to the Cleveland Train Depot in 1898, just as that unit was preparing to leave for the Spanish-American War. Sousa's first association with the troop was in 1881 when he marched with the group in the funeral procession of President James A. Garfield. This march holds a very descriptive character of a mounted unit, including being written in 6/8 time to suggest the canter of the horses and the sound of simulated hoofbeats. Something to listen for as we take you through Sousa's The Black Horse Troop March. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Yeah, don't head for the exits just yet. I know you're used to leaving as soon as the march ends, but we have one more number for you here tonight. I know what a grand number it is, our finale this evening. And well, maybe it was fitting that Sousa march we just played had to do with horses, because we're now going to saddle up and gallop, spelled G-A-L-L-O-P, with a musical gallop. That's spelled G-A-L-O-P, with one of the most well-known musical passages of all time. Now, we commonly refer to it as the William Tell Overture. Actually, it is just part of the fourth movement and finale of a much broader work called the William Tell Overture from the opera William Tell by Rossini in 1839. This comes from the last movement of the opera, which is actually called March of the Swiss Soldiers. But this truly became synonymous with horse riding when it was used by the Lone Ranger, radio, TV, and film productions here in the United States. This is Rossini's 39th and final opera before he went into semi-retirement. We're going to really show off the bandshell's LED lights installed a couple of years ago here in a dazzling display and a whole new level of our traditional way of closing out each concert. The lights presentation will be done by Craig Kaufman of City of Ames Parks and Rec. And on Ames City Council night, that's certainly fitting. And a very special evening, certainly a fitting way to wrap it up. Enjoy the William Tell Overture. Thanks to our soloists. Thanks to Craig Kaufman for a wonderful job on the lights. Thank you so much. Under the direction of Dr. Mike Galimo. Your Ames Municipal Band. Take another bow, Craig. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We look forward to seeing you back here next Thursday night in Bandshell Park as we continue with our 100th anniversary season. Thank you to City of Ames Television, Ames TV 12, for recording the broadcast here tonight. I'm John Burnett Larkins on behalf of all the members of the Ames Municipal Band. Good night, everyone.